Is good, everybody? My Paper Moon fam. It's your boy, PaperSIn, back with another reaction video. This one is called The Dark Side of Rich Kids Volunteering Abroad. And it's by the YouTube channel Vice. I don't think we've ever really, have we done a Vice video before? I don't think so. And how old is Vice and how strong it is? We've done a video about somebody talking about Vice before, but anyway, link to the channel and link to the video will both be in the description below, so be sure to check them out. Like, you don't need me telling you that, you probably already subscribed to them anyway. But yeah, even if you haven't, be sure to check them out, and while you're there, don't forget to do those 3 things I like to ask you to do: like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos. Yeah. All right, let's get into this. I'm guessing that the rich kids that go abroad to do volunteering, I'm guessing they don't respect the people who are over there, and they probably don't want to do anything, like don't want to actually get involved. But anyway,
volunteerism is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It sells wealthier people access to impoverished and struggling communities in exchange for a life-affirming experience. Kids would see vans of volunteers pulling towards them, and they'd quickly rub dirt on their faces so that they'd be more appealing, ironically, to the volunteers and look like they needed more help. Each of us paid thousands of dollars to go on this trip. Of that trip fee, almost none of it went to the orphanage.
Holy shit.
The primary goal, we were told, was to build a library. Our work was so bad that the local builders who were working alongside us would come back while we were sleeping
and fix everything,
and undo our work and redo it.
Yo, that has got to be so exhausting and so painful. You know what I'm saying? All that work that you did throughout the day, the locals are like, this shit is shoddy. We can't survive with this work. We can't, if we leave this as is, that thing's gonna fall over. So then they come back at night when they're supposed to be sleeping and resting in their bodies and rejuvenating for the next day to do it again. They come back at night and redo all the work that the volunteers did. Holy shit, man. That has got to be exhaustive and whew. Oh, damn, bro. I can only imagine, you know.
They abused children in orphanages while under the guise of being a volunteer.
What?
What you're being sold is the idea that you'll help a community.
Right.
What you're really buying is an opportunity to help yourself.
How so? I guess it would be like also so they could go over there and say, yeah, I volunteered to help this poor community. Look how great I am, kind of thing going on. But yo, this is crazy. I'm curious to see what other ways they quote unquote help themselves and how bad it actually is. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I don't know how bad it can get, but let's find out.
I've been involved in volunteerism for over a decade. The language used by volunteerism tends to be along the lines of, you can change the world and find yourself all at the same time. I wanted to physically go out to be that change, make a difference, be a global citizen. I definitely was thinking about how it would look when I applied to college.
Okay.
And how it would look on my resume. I convinced my parents to pay a couple $1,000s for me to be able to go on this trip to Tanzania. It was about 3 weeks long. For $3,000, we would get to volunteer at an orphanage, teach some English lessons, play with some kids, go on a safari. I was entirely unqualified and unprepared and should not have been allowed to do this. You are going to be working with young children who are extremely vulnerable. I came from an all-girls school where I had a walk-in closet, and I was pulling up to this all-girls orphanage where they shared bunk rooms without running water. The primary goal of our time at the orphanage was to build a library. We believed that we'd be able to build the whole thing while we were there until you realize that none of us had ever done any construction work.
Oh shit. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, what I was trying to say before was at least there was girls bunking with girls instead of they were trying to mix them. Instead of them trying to mix them, you know, since the girls came from an all-girls school and stuff like that, at least they weren't trying to mix them with adult men or teenage men or volunteer men that were volunteering. And, you know what I'm saying? Obviously they probably worked together like when actually building, or maybe they didn't, but at least they kept them separate for the most part, it looks like. And because when, you know what I'm saying, when it says the dark side of blank, you know, you wonder how dark it gets, you know.
There was a general feeling that the local workmen were lazy at times because they were showing up late. One morning, I woke up and decided to go outside. I started walking up where we were building the library, and I saw that there were men working at the construction site.
While y'all were sleeping.
I realized that they were taking apart what we'd done and redoing it, and then they'd let it set, and by the time that we would show up to work in a few more hours, we'd be none the wiser. I told one of the chaperones from my school on the trip about what I'd seen and was advised to keep it to myself.
Damn, son. So even the volunteers got told that, hey, don't speak about that. You know what I'm saying? Keep that hush hush. I wonder if the locals got paid more type of thing, or something like that. You know, or if they got some type of more of a compensation, because not only are they doing all the work pretty much, but they also have to deal with other people like looking at them thinking that they're lazy. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, you know, the locals probably can't say anything about it either. So what kind of compensation are these guys getting for dealing with all this? Like they honestly, they might knowing when the locals hear that the volunteers are coming to help them do something, that's probably like a double-edged sword for them. It's like, first off, they're like, ah, shit, you know, they're coming through. It's about to be some really long nights. We're gonna have to wake up in the middle of the night, fix all the bullshit work that they did and redo it. And we're gonna have to deal with being thought of as lazy. And if they actually don't get any extra compensation for all the work they do, then that's another issue. But at least with the people who are in charge of the volunteers, or the company that are in charge of the volunteers, they're probably at least paying for that place to get built, you know? So
you have stories of people donating bags full of toys that the orphanage director then goes and gives to his own kids, or sells or locks in a closet, so that the next group of volunteers will donate bags of toys. Because if they see kids playing with tons of toys, they won't bring toys. If they see kids sleeping on a good bed with a good mattress, they won't donate money for better beds and better mattresses.
Holy shit.
We did not eat our meals with the children in the orphanage. We ate separately, which was a rule at that orphanage. It was so we wouldn't know what they were eating. My typical breakfast at the orphanage would include fresh fruit juice, hard-boiled eggs, toast, jams, butter. The children were most often having beans and rice that they cooked themselves. We also would help them sort the pebbles out of the beans. A number of times, the girls were expected to sing for us. The exchange for them having a really good meal was to sing and dance. We were...
At some point, you have to wonder if the locals would be better off if these volunteer groups weren't coming. You know what I'm saying? I mean, So technically, it's just one. It's kind of like it's a giant. It's kind of like, it's almost like a giant scam. You know, you're donating money to these groups, poor unfortunate groups, as they're marketed as. You're donating toys and all of them, but if what she's saying is right, the director is just taking that shit and just taking the toys at least and giving them to other his kids or whatever, and who knows where the money's going. It's probably, for all you know, it could be just being split between the actual the higher ups. It might not even be going to the orphanage and stuff like that to buy, like she said, to buy beds and stuff for them, because if the volunteers see those kids with all that good stuff, then they're not gonna feel compelled to donate all that good stuff, and the cycle continues. And that's how the cycle continues. Yeah. I mean, sorry. Yeah, if the volunteers see the kids with all that good stuff, then they don't feel compelled to donate any of that good stuff, and then the directors and the upper people don't get any extra shit. You know what I'm saying? But so they keep it hidden from them, or they keep it for themselves, and that's how the cycle continues. Sorry, I misspoke before. Holy crap, man!
A predominantly white group. When I was in Tanzania, a young woman was questioning her sexuality.
Okay.
And was being encouraged by this volunteer to live openly. The reality of this young woman's life was that she lived in a community where doing so would put her at very great physical danger.
Then just
don't do it.
So
this volunteer was so focused on her own moral compass and moral values that she couldn't quite see how the advice she was giving this young woman could potentially kill her.
Yeah.
The directors of the orphanage did not see the children's health as a priority.
You gotta, like, when you're going to a different country that has different rules and for a different society, you can't try pushing your values, your rules, your agendas on them, because it could, especially on those kids, because they could end up, like, you know what I'm saying, getting killed for it. You have to respect their own, like, you're in their area. You shouldn't be like, oh, your society is wrong. You should be doing this and this. Y'all should be doing this and this and this. Even though you're talking to a bunch of kids, like, leave them be. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you could teach them, what they could learn from you could get them killed. So when their lives are at risk, just leave them alone. That's their country with their society rules and their, you know what I'm saying? You gotta respect that and let them be them. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I hope that kid's okay.
We were advised by other long-term volunteers at the orphanage that when residents did get malaria, despite there being money to pay for them to get medical care, they were not provided with medical care.
Holy shit.
The leadership of the orphanage were unwilling to spend the money.
They gotta keep it themselves.
Of children who live at orphanages have not lost one or both parents. They are not orphans. They don't have birth certificates. They don't have IDs. No one knows who they are or where they are. These children are anonymous. The thing that really haunts me is the connection between orphanages and child sex trafficking.
Holy shit, there it is.
There are Brits, there are Americans, there are Australians who've been arrested, and that's just the tip of the iceberg for exploiting children and abusing them sexually and physically while making money from people like me who wanted to do good. They abused children in orphanages while under the guise of being a volunteer. Volunteerism.
I told you when it says the dark side, you start wondering how dark it actually gets, and sometimes you don't want that to be answered.
Is continuing to grow as an industry. During the pandemic, the trip providers who are the most successful were actively marketing trips to Tanzania as an opportunity to escape COVID and pretend like it didn't exist. You can say that you are giving 100% of fees back to a community without doing that. You can say those things because no one's checking up on you. No one's verifying that this is happening. The reason why it continues to increase is that many of the experiences that are similar to what I had as a volunteer, of having children running towards me and wanting to sit on my lap and wanting me to carry them, are still so emotionally compelling.
Damn.
They're still so alluring. It feels so good that it's really easy for someone to apply exceptionalism.
And that that feeling probably was also keeps her coming. It's also could be a reason for her for her to have kept going back, because she said she did it for what, like 10 years or something. But holy shit, I mean, that is that's interesting. So where is your money going when you donate? You gotta make sure you know the companies and stuff like that. I'm not saying they're all bad, but you gotta make sure you know which ones are actually sending the money to where they say they're actually sending it, and the toys to where they say they're actually sending it. You know what I'm saying? But is there ever really a paper trail for that thing that you can actually follow? But this is interesting. Have you ever done some volunteer work in another country? What was your, you know what I'm saying, what was your experience there? How was it for you? Let me know in the comments below. Or even if you've donated toys or money to other to foundations that say they go to other countries. Were you able to actually verify that it went to those other countries, or because it would be great to see some actual confirmation that yes, it did go, or maybe you were one of the ones that it didn't go and you found out yourself. I don't know. It's all a very interesting topic. So feel free to discuss below in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are. And from there, you know what it is. In case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace and much love to you.